It's September, I believe it's the 16th. It's Friday, September 16th. CBS this morning has a piece on, I guess, I'm taking it as it's departing words of wisdom from somebody that I never met. Some answers that I've never been offered. Nobody's ever spoken of. I mean, we share some of the same names. I don't know if they're sons of Adam, assuming they are. Um, I'm looking at some of the photos, and I have one arm's length cousin that I grew up with that visually is a next gen doppelganger or an expressed genetic of one of the leading members that I didn't grow up with. I mean, I grew up with in that we saw each other whenever and however that was. But we were both held within, I mean, I was held at Eagle Dock in that type of situation, doing whatever I did, trying to stay safe growing up, and participating where it was offered. My cousin Brian, he had his own life journey. We don't talk about it. I don't talk about what I went through. He doesn't talk about what he went through. We don't see each other very often. But I'm looking now at some of the departing words of wisdom, and he has not had. I mean, I can see, and I don't know what he's been through, but I can see by his face that he's had not such an easy time either. So I'm watching the CBS this morning, and they actually put up as Charles ascends to King Charles III, they're actually putting up a family portraits with names of how their branch of the family came to be. And in there, I've noticed that there's this key figure that looks like Brian. I know that on the marble, I don't know what branch I belong to. I don't know. There's so much that's been withheld, so it gets confusing. And I don't know how it works. I don't know why. But I'm watching this morning. I'm in this pattern of safety procedures in the local area. And so this is what they put on this morning, just so there's a capture of it. Unfortunately, with the way memory is working at the moment, I don't know if the carry through and the carry forward. And I don't know what to do with this knowledge at the moment. I know it's incredibly important. At insinuations, at sinew, based on what's happening in United States and whatever else might be helpful or harmful, and not knowing what each looks like in this modern mess, or this modern modality.
It's uncomfortable, but sometimes we have to go there. So
You're right.
bravo to you, Anderson Cooper. More now on the British monarchy as King Charles adjusts to his very new role. This morning, we're reflecting back on the family lineage that led to this moment. Interesting fact, but for a twist of history, King Charles would not have been in line to be the monarch. Why? Well, Vladimir Duthier, who considers himself an expert in many things, he's now an expert in royal history too. Who knew this about you, Vlad? Good morning.
It's not just now, Gail. I've always been a royal nerd, and because it is living history and it is very, very fascinating. Yes, I perhaps know a few too many details, but they come in handy for this story.
And that's what I don't understand. How come somebody outside of the family genetic lines and lineage is able to ascertain and obtain this very crucial piece of living history, and yet I've been kept from it or kept from knowing how to pursue it? That's what I don't understand. There was somebody, um, when Tia Fru first showed up, he took me out shopping and said that he was taking me out to dinner, or his brother was taking us out to dinner. And so he bought me this outfit. I absolutely hated it. It was from a company called Guess, Guess. I felt like an absolute trash doll. I mean, it's not my cup of tea, let's put it that way. And we go to this Greek restaurant to meet this table full of people that I did not know. And so we go there, and it's in Port Jefferson, Long Island, for whoever else attended that, in that historic meeting that seems so ordinary in Waldorf. However, Tia Frio seemed to have known to take me shopping in Guess for I don't know what reason, and then bring me to Port Jeff to meet in the Greek restaurant with whoever else was there. And I didn't know any of the faces or names. And it was just, I suppose, a family dinner. And so, again, and that's at the tail, and that's a blacksmith event after tailwinds of so much biological clock just being counted down and being dragged, it feels like, between an elephant and a crazy donkey with no real purpose. Whoever was there knows who they are. I was walking the bell in the metallurgy bell says West Troy, which I know is a Brad Pitt reference movie. He did Troy for Helen, Sparta and whatnot. Again, symbolism in Hellenistic things anyway, and the guardians of the galaxy and the angels that walk amongst us. Then, of course, there's the hierarchy of the angels. These things have real meaning. I just don't know where. So I made a picture and a Facebook mark of that West Troy Bell, and then of where Anthony, and it says Union Free, which I don't know. We're also, I found out yesterday from the PTA, we're underfunded, which is a blessing and a curse in disguise, I suppose, as far as ethics go. And so I was walking on Bell Boulevard after I made that post on Facebook, and the man that works in the food truck leans out of the truck and he said, and again, I take this with a grain of salt. He said that I was the queen of Bell Boulevard because I'm the only one he sees walking as I do. I had my brimmed hat on, and I'm always walking Bell Boulevard. So I thought that was really an interesting timing on how he prefaced it. That was also the same day that somebody came out at one of the corners that I was about to cross with the fingers up like this and seemed very nervous. So I marked both of those. Again, area security being whatever it is. And so here we are at more photos.
I took a look at the history of this family's lineage, and you'll see it's rich in twists and turns. As the world mourns the death of Queen Elizabeth II, it feels nearly impossible to imagine a change to the monarchy after her 70 years on the throne.
Queen Elizabeth II represented stability to Britain and to the world.
But at the time of her birth, Princess Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor was never meant to be queen. Here's why. When King George V, Queen Elizabeth's grandfather, died in 1936, his firstborn son, King Edward VIII, ascended the throne. But a controversial romance with American divorcee Wallis Simpson put an abrupt end to a reign that lasted just 320.
Now, this person looks exactly as my cousin Brian does in modern day. My cosmic square twinning that has some celebrity status is the only reason why it's of mention, is a 77, and my cousin Brian is also, I think, the year 77, and then I come 78, just the year after. There's only 1 year between us.
25 days.
Divorce was still something that was not done, and it certainly wasn't a common practice for monarchs.
And that's why I don't understand why more care wasn't taken with introductions into the family the proper formality way when I was young and growing into marrying age. Why I was kept at some distance and kept from who would have been the proper choice and forced, instead of a son of Adam, into some whatever with a son of Cain. These are serious, serious problems.
So he was given a choice: give up the love of his life or give up the throne. The king chose to abdicate.
In his palace, the king was about to address the nation.
A few hours ago, I discharged my last duty as king and emperor.
Which thrust his brother.
Now, I've never heard of any of these things, and they don't have this really crystal clear construct. I mean, they're doing a really good job today, but there's no way for me to keep this permanently in the queue to watch it over and over and over again. So for me, it becomes incredibly difficult to stay in. I'm so out of the loop. The circuses have all run away with each other, it feels like. Where was my invitation to run away and join the circus? At what part of the circus?
Brother George VI, who was also Elizabeth's father, into the spotlight.
The nation believes that when I speak, I speak for them.
As featured in the movie The King's Speech, George VI was merely just a spare, a man with a stutter, a fear of public speaking, with no desire to be king.
I ask you to join with me in that act of thanksgiving.
But he forged ahead, fulfilling his duty, preparing his firstborn child, Elizabeth, to one day be queen. That included serving in the women's branch of the British Army during World War II. The 25-year-old heir was touring Kenya when she learned her father had died.
It is very clear that she understood that her life would be dedicated to service.
And now here's the other thing visually having a recognizable look to people that I can't even name. I don't even know who I look similar to. But I know that the enemies of who I look very much alike to, they know who I look like better. They recognize me better than I recognize myself. I mean, it's national secure. I do not feel as such. I don't feel that I feel like I've been left out. I don't feel like I've been brought in, especially with the expressed genetics I wear. And then being darted like an animal, and then not knowing what they're doing with my body while I lay like limp, and then waking up in places like new places, not even knowing. I mean, this puts my life at risk. Where does that responsibility lie? And giving me an education of who is trustworthy, who could be seen as an alliance, or who will consistently see me as a threat and consistently try to hunt me down throughout my life. Where is that simple etiquette of social something?
She took it very, very seriously.
I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong.
And I also don't see where it behooves one to have such an estranged relationship. Why would the next generation be estranged if they're still living purpose? And if there's real serious living security threats? Why isn't there a special academy? Why isn't there a special schooling? Why isn't there a special consort or some special hand to hold or some special arm to contact to know what's moving in or out of and to stay on some form of an alert system? Why is none of that available to me in a modern age?
It's a very complicated legacy, even for a lot of Africans.
But Washington Post columnist Karen Attiah says the imperial family and its colonial subjugation of lands and people was not something to be celebrated.
And again, here, they call themselves refugees or asylum seekers. And then they come here and they want to go into contract. Slave labor, paid slave labor, technically. But yet they're angry about where they left. But when they get here, they want to join a union. They want union benefits. They want union pay. They want a contracted life. So they know that they can survive in these lands in New York. So it really confuses me, the amount of hypocrisy when they bring this up and then land here in New York, in this republic, even though they call it a democratic state. I can't even get clear answers on what that means. But it gets really confusing, and it seems to pose another layer of potential hazard upon my person, for which I don't know how to not only seek out justice, I don't know how to seek out protection. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.